Hello everyone, it's me again, the Southern African World Bicycle Rider. Now the last time we spoke to you, I was up in Brisbane and I've made my way down to Sydney, and I'm here at the New South Wales Cricket at the SCG, the Sydney Cricket Ground, another test venue cricket ground here in Australia. With me I have David. Hi David.
Hi.
My name's Guy.
Nice.
Thanks so much for your time, mate. David works for New South Wales Cricket, and I'll just ask him quickly what his role is at New South Wales Cricket. David, please, can you just let us know what you do here, mate?
Yeah, I'm the communications manager here, so I basically look after the main New South Wales cricket team.
Okay.
Plus responsible for the women's team, the Breakers, and
Okay.
And the communications and media around the organisation. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful, mate. That's very interesting you bring that up, because I haven't touched on the women's game here in Australia, the Breakers.
Yeah.
Now that you've brought that up, can you just give us a little bit of info about the women's game here in Australia?
Yeah, the women's game's very strong. Obviously, they've just won the recent World Cup. And
Classic.
The Breakers are probably one of the most successful sporting teams in Australian sport, men or women. They've just this year won the national women's title for the 13th time in 15 seasons, and the 8th time in a row.
Wow. And just before you carry on, is that a 2020 version of the game, or what's that title involved?
That title is 50 over version.
50 of the traditional one-day version of the game.
Traditional one-day version of the game, so
Yes.
they play against all the other states in the sort of December and January period.
Wonderful. Oh, there we go, guys. I'm here at the most successful ladies one-day limited overs game tournament in Australia, the Breakers. Classic. That was excellent to learn a bit about the side. And I wanted to also ask you a bit. Up in Brisbane, I got to learn a bit about the three men's competitions, the Big Bash, the 2020, the 50 over version of the game played by the state sides, and of course the third 4-day version of the game played by the state sides as well. And I just wanted to ask you, at the moment, if I'm correct, they are the 50 over version of the competition here in Australia has just been completed and won by I forget, if you can just if you
this year I think, I'm just trying to remember, but
it has been completed.
I think it was
am I
won
right?
by Queensland, I think. Yeah.
Was it Queensland this year? Okay, yeah, no, great. So that's completed. So now, when will they be starting the 4-day version of the competition of the game?
Well, that's just been completed as well.
Oh, that's also
so
done.
that was completed as well.
Okay.
The final was won by Tasmania.
Okay.
And Ricky Ponting went to play in the final for Tasmania. It was
Okay.
actually the first time Ricky Ponting had ever won that version of that competition, because
Yes.
he spent most of his time playing international cricket.
Exactly.
But he was part of the team that Tasmania put on the field at one. Well, I think it took about 3 or 4 weeks ago. The final took place.
Okay. Well, there you go, guys. Just show how behind I am, and with being riding, of course, the season is now over. The Big Bash, as we know, was won by the Brisbane Heat, the 2020 version local Australian competition. The one-day version of the game, the 50 over traditional, I've been informed was won by Queensland, which is where the Brisbane Heat are. So Queensland doing well. And then the 4-day version of the game won by Tasmania, over in Hobart, Tasmania, with a bit of nice information there about the legend Ricky Ponting and his involvement with that team, and actually winning that tournament for the first time in his career. And we learnt a bit about the Breakers as well, the ladies team. And now I just want to ask a question about the Test cricket grounds and the involvement of the Australian rules game on the grounds. Am I right in that they actually play all their season on the Test cricket grounds?
Yeah, I mean, we're like a lot of the other main grounds, the MCG.
Yes.
Brisbane, etc. The difference between us and the MCG is that they have drop-in wickets during the cricket season.
Okay.
For us, we just play on the normal cricket square, and then they let it grow at the end of the season, and then they turn it into an AFL ground, let the outfield grow, obviously.
Yes, that was my next question. You know, as we know, the pitch is sacred, the cricket strip, and that was my question. So that's interesting. In Melbourne, they actually have a drop-in track.
Yeah.
And you guys just let it go over and prepare the wicket every season.
That's right, prepare the wicket, and it's a pretty tight turnover,
Yes.
but it's not so difficult turning into AFL. You basically just allow the grass to grow in the centre.
I hear you.
The centre of the ground.
Yes.
Which takes a little bit of a time to do that, but you know, with it's okay normally as long as it's not too much sun. There's a bit of rain just to soften it up a little bit, but yeah, they're now back playing on the SCG, playing on it within about 4 weeks of the end of the cricket season.
Yes.
And basically just put in the new the poles at the end to make the goals.
Yes.
And away they go. Yeah.
And they have a full season there.
Full season.
And if we could, that's new to me, guys. I didn't actually know that when I began this journey with the Test cricket grounds in Australia. But now that I've learned that the Australian rules teams play on the Test cricket grounds, I've also learned that the Brisbane team at the Gabba are called the Lions. Am I right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. So that's the AFL team that plays up in Brisbane. They called the Lions, and they play on the Gabba. And then down here in Sydney, at the Sydney cricket ground, the Test ground, it's the Swans.
The
am
Sydney
I right?
Swans. Yeah.
The
Right.
Sydney Swans. That's the only side out of Sydney.
There's actually a new side in Sydney as well, which came into play, I think it's 2 years ago. They've created a second team in Sydney, which is in the west of Sydney.
So they don't play on this at the SCG?
They play at a couple of grounds there in the west of Sydney. They're called the Greater Western Sydney, the Giants.
Okay.
And they're a newly formed team.
Yes.
And they've come into play in the last couple of years.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for that. I don't want to take too much of your time and get into Australian rules. We had to talk about cricket, and but what I will do is just run over the other teams. Then of course we go down to the MCG from the SCG, the Melbourne ground. And who is the side that has that ground? The MCG as their home turf.
So it's the state of Victoria has it as their home ground.
Yes.
In terms of cricket.
In terms of cricket, yes.
And the Big Bash team that plays there is a team called the Melbourne Stars.
That's right.
Which have Shane Warne and
yes.
a lot of other top players.
Yes, that's correct.
And in terms of an AFL venue,
yes.
it's very much used by a variety of teams. It's not
really
the home ground
of one specific side.
No, because it's such a big stadium. They use it for a lot of the big matches where you'll get big crowds. So you get a whole series of different teams would play matches there. Yeah.
Okay. So there we go. No particular Australian rules team is based out of the MCG.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if we went on, would be over to Hobart and their test ground. Would that be used by their Aussie rules team too?
Unfortunately, they don't have an Aussie rules team. Not in the main competition.
There we go, guys.
I don't think they actually play. They may play local AFL on the ground, but it's not.
But not as part of
professionally as such.
I hear you. Yes.
Whereas you go to, Adelaide have just had a major ground redevelopment. And I think
that's the Adelaide Oval.
The Adelaide Oval.
Okay.
I think the plan there is that the two Adelaide teams, the Crows and Port Adelaide, they will both play at the home ground.
They'll both play out of the Adelaide Oval.
Yeah, which they don't do at the moment, but they've redeveloped the ground. And then you go to Perth, and I think the Eagles play a number of matches at the Wacker. So pretty much, it's the cricket grounds are AFL grounds during the winters.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, mate. There you go, guys. We've learnt a little bit more about Australian cricket and its involvement with some of Australia's other great sports. And let's see, when my next stop now will be down at the MCG, the Melbourne Cricket Ground. And let's see what happens there. Let's see what we learn a bit more about Australian cricket, and see if possibly even get to speak to some players, or you never know what will happen. And until I report to you from down there, ciao for now. Thanks a lot. Thank you, David.
No problem.
Appreciate it so much, mate.
No problem.
Thanks.
Okay.